Hello everyone, and good morning. Today I'm in Sharpsburg, Maryland, and we're going to be visiting the Antietam National Battlefield. And as you can tell, there's quite a bit of construction going on here at the visitor center. While it's open, the road around it is closed, but you can still stop by and pick up a map of the battlefield, which is the best way to see the battlefield. The construction project here is going to be renovating the visitor center and expanding it. And from talking to one of the rangers inside, it's going to be about a year and a half or 2-year project. But we are going to explore the battlefield here at Antietam, which is the bloodiest day in American history. And our first stop is going to be here at the Dunker Church, just across the street from the visitor center. And here we are inside the reconstructed Dunker Church. Wooden pews, an old wood stove for heat. A really very modest and simple church. The Dunker Church was built in about 1852 and was a house of worship for the pacifist German Baptist brethren. And this church became the focal point of Union attack during the morning of the battle here at Antietam. All of the Civil War battlefields in America are dotted with monuments and memorials to various troops who fought here. And this one that we're walking over to is one of the more unique monuments here at Antietam. And I think it is going to be the Maryland Memorial. This plaque on the Maryland Memorial depicts the charge of the 2nd Maryland Infantry, I think, as they prepared to attack the Burnside Bridge, which is a stop that we'll make a little bit later in the battlefield tour. And inside the monument, the plaques of the various regiments from the state of Maryland that fought here at Antietam, across the street from the Dunker Church. The second stop here at Antietam is at the Puffenbarger Farm in what they call the North Woods. And it was here that Union General Joseph Hooker and his men spent the night before the battle. And at first light, the Union attack advanced south toward the Dunker Church, and the battle was on. The monument here at the Puffenbarger Farm is the monument to the 7th Pennsylvania Regiment. And there's another interesting monument right here. And it is dedicated to Clara Barton. And the plaque is a little hard to read. It says, during the Battle of Antietam on September 17, 1862, Clara Barton brought supplies and nursing aid to the wounded on this battlefield. This act of love and mercy led to the birth of the American Red Cross. Driving through the North Woods where some of the early fighting during the battle occurred. And another one of the regimental monuments that dot the battlefield. And now we've transitioned into the East Woods and are here at the Mansfield Monument. Monument to Joseph Mansfield, who was mortally wounded on this spot on September 17th, 1862. Driving through the East Woods here, and the night before the main battle, a small skirmish occurred here between the Confederates and the Union Army. And it was on the morning of September the 17th, 1862, that some of the opening shots of the Battle of Antietam took place here in the East Woods, and we're coming up on the area known as the cornfield. That's the Puffenbarger farmhouse we see in the distance that we visited just a few minutes ago. And now we're looking across back at the East Woods where the early fighting started. And now we're looking back across the cornfield. And it was here that some of the most horrific fighting occurred on the morning of September 17th, 1862. For nearly 3 hours, Hooker and Mansfield's Union forces battled Jackson's Confederates. Many regiments on both sides were cut to pieces. In fact, Hayes' Louisiana Brigade suffered over 60% casualties in the first 30 minutes of the battle here at the cornfield. And here is the Texas monument. And this was the cornfield where some of the fiercest fighting during the battle occurred. Let's walk around and look at a few of these monuments. This monument stands in memory of Colonel Joseph W. Hawley and the 12th Pennsylvania Volunteers. And across the street, across the road, is the Indiana Monument. And the New Jersey Regimental Monument. And here we have the Massachusetts Monument.
And some of the storyboards that detail the events that occurred here at the cornfield.
I'm here in the West Woods, and it was here that the Philadelphia Brigade saw action. During the fighting in the West Woods, the Philadelphia Brigade, commanded by General O.O. Howard, lost more than 550 men in about 20 minutes of battle. And we're going to spin around, and there's the Philadelphia Monument. Just a short walk down the road from the Philadelphia Brigade is this inverted cannon barrel. If I'm correct, whenever you see a inverted cannon barrel like this on the battlefield, it's where an officer was killed. There is a plaque on it. General William E. Stark, Confederate States of America, killed here. So I was correct. My next stop here is at the Mumma Farm and Cemetery. And this was the site of the only deliberate act of destruction of private property during the battle. Confederate soldiers were ordered to burn the farm, house, and building outbuildings belonging to Samuel Mumma, so that they couldn't be used by Union sharpshooters. Before the battle, Samuel Mumma and his family had fled the area and were staying with friends a short distance away down near the Burnside Bridge.
And this is the Mumma Cemetery. And there's some National Park workers here doing some maintenance, shoring up the gravestones here in the cemetery. This headstone lists the name of the Mumma children, all of which were born, it looks like, after the Civil War and lived well into the 20th century. Graves of other members of the Mumma family, and the graves of Samuel and Elizabeth Mumma, who occupied the farm during the Battle of Antietam.
When the battle took place here in 1862, the Confederates burned the original house that belonged to the Mummas and barn and all the outbuildings. When the Mummas returned in 1863, they rebuilt the house and barn that we see here today. But this spring house is original to the property and stood here during the battle. It's the only building that the Confederates left standing. And today the Mumma Farm is still an active farm, and I think it may still be maintained in private hands. I know when I asked at the visitor center about touring the Mumma house, they said it wasn't available and wasn't part of the Park Service tour.
There's a lot to see here at Antietam, and this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to end it here at the Mumma Farm. Continue my tour in my next video. I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of my visit to Antietam. If you have, please give me a thumbs up below. If you want to be notified when I post new videos, please ring that bell and subscribe. And if you're so inclined, leave me a comment. Now, I hope you'll join me next time when I wrap up my visit to Antietam. Until then, remember, life is a wonderful journey. Be sure to take time and enjoy it. And I'll see you down the road. So long, everyone.